Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Lisa's Coloring Corner. Today I wanted to do a comparison, and what I wanted to do a comparison on was 6 different brands of watercolor brush pens. Different than water-based, these are watercolor brush pens, and all of these have the actual brush bristles. They are not the what's the word I'm looking for? The fiber tipped pens. These actually have the bristles. So I have the Genuine Crafts, and I did do reviews and swatch outs of all of these. I did the Genuine Crafts, and we have Doodle Hog, and we have Chromatech, we have Colorant, we have Artezas, and then finally we have Zig. Okay, I have a number of different watercolor papers. We are going to test all of these on, and I wanted to go from low end to, or I wanted to get some real budget friendly type of paper all the way to, now I didn't buy any real expensive paper, just mid-range. So I thought, well, we could try some of the Crayola marker and watercolor pad. And Faber Castell, this is a watercolor pad. Red always signifies their student grade, so I thought, we could try that. Then I have a pack of Reeves, which is another popular watercolor paper. B Paper Company has a cold press watercolor paper, again another popular type of watercolor paper. Then I have one called Paint. This is by Design Ideation Creative Arts. Here is one by Prima Marketing. It is a watercolor paper pad. And I wanted to get a Canton in here. Canton is, again, a real popular brand for all different kinds of paper. I got a pack of their watercolor paper. Then we get into the different types of Strathmore. Strathmore is probably the most popular of papers out there for all different types of needs. But they also have a number of different watercolor papers. Here is a paint pad. This is geared towards kids more than, artists. So I thought we would try that. Then this is regular watercolor paper by Strathmore. This is actually very large sheets. I had cut this down to 8.5 by 11. So if you wonder why, when I look for this, it's in a huge pad. They are typically 11 by 15 inch, so the paper is big, but I did cut it down. Then we have my favorite, which is the Bristol Vellum paper. All right, so we are going to go through all of these different watercolor papers with the 6 different kinds of watercolor brush pens. So let's start with, I did pick out of each set, if you noticed, I picked out a red that I thought was comparable between all 6 sets, a regular medium blue, and then kind of a darkish green, because that seemed to be in some of the smaller sets. And I wanted to pick colors that were as close as I could get them between the 6 sets. And I wanted to try more than just one color. So I thought, well, these seem to be the 3 that were closest out of all of the sets. So let's, again, try this Crayola marker and watercolor pad. Let's try the Genuine Crafts first. These do not have a color name or number on. They just have an indicator on the end what color they are. Let me zoom you in a little. And we look a little fuzzy. Let me focus a little better. That's worse. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's try the Genuine Crafts. I have my water pen over here and some paper towel. Let's try the red. Of course, with the Crayola paper, I'm not holding out too much hope. It's very thin. And yeah, spreads a little bit, but not much. Let's try the blue. And yeah, again, not much. And the green. Huh, the green spread a little bit better, didn't it? But still, not that good. All right, let's try the Doodle Hog. The red. Yep, not too good. The blue. That one's even worse. And the green. Must be something in green ink that spreads a little more, huh? Okay, so again, Doodle Hog did not do that well. Let's go down to the Chromatech. So we will try out the red. Spreads a little bit more, but still not that good. And the blue. Yeah, kind of similar to the others. And green. Again, green spreads a little bit better, but still not that good. Let's go on to the Colorant brush pens. And I could not find a darker red in the set that I have that was real comparable, so this is what we had to go with. Spreads, again, a little bit, but not much. The blue. Okay. Kinda, you can see where we're going with this paper, right? Probably more suitable for kids to use markers and pencils and things like that on. So Colorant did not fare too well on this paper either. Let's go ahead and try the Artezas. Scoot over a little more so I'm at a better angle here. Nope. And the blue. And the green. Just figure we'll give all the brands a fair shake on every single paper. Okay, so that was the Artezas. Finally, the Zigs. And as you can see, the Zigs has the finest point. Was I totally off camera for that? I'm sorry. The Zigs have the finest, smallest tip, brush tip out of all of them. So there is the red. Yeah, and the Zigs actually blend out a little bit better. And the blue. As far as feel-wise, I think the Zigs are probably about the juiciest too. Okay, so they do blend out a tad better than the others, but still not real good. Okay, so there are our our six different brands of brush pens on the Crayola marker and watercolor paper. Not the best for watercolor. Again, maybe works fine with the water-based markers for kids. So, okay. Next up is the Faber Castell watercolor pad. Let me get the Artezas back up here. All right, and again, we are going to start with the Genuine Crafts. So let's get those down here. And we will start out with the red. Not too bad, but you can still kind of see a line in here from where the ink stopped. But much, much better than the Crayola paper. Let's go to the blue. You know, if you work it real hard, you can kind of get rid of that line, but not totally. Can still kind of see it in there. And the green. And again, you can see where I put the pen down. So for the Genuine Crafts, it blends out okay, but you can see the pen strokes themselves. So let's try the Doodle Hog. These seem to blend out a little bit better on this paper, at least with the red so far. Let's try the blue. Okay, that one didn't seem to blend out quite as nice. I mean, it did. And if I worked at it, I did get the lines to go away. So they do seem to be blending a little bit better than the Genuine Crafts did. And we'll try the green. And again, blends out pretty good. So far for a student grade watercolor paper, this Faber-Castell is doing pretty good. Then we are going to the Chromatech. Try out the red. And those seem to blend out pretty nice. try the blue. Again, you got to work a little bit at the blue to get that line away. But if you work at it, looks like you can do it. And then this pretty deep green. Okay, real nice. Let's try the Colorant pens. Here is our red. I must say these Colorant brush pens are also very nice and juicy. And these do work pretty good. Again, you can kind of see where the brush strokes themselves went. I think if you worked enough at it, you can pull the color out so you don't see it. Yeah, these are very nice and juicy. So let's try the blue. Basically same as the red. Work at it, you can get rid of that line. And the green. Same story. Kind of work at it, you can get rid of the brush lines. Alrighty. So let's go down to the Artezas. Okay, let's try the red. They do not seem to blend out as well. And they blend out, but you definitely see where the pen strokes went. The blue. And again, same story. You can see where I laid down the pen. And the green. Let's see if we can really work it and get that out. No. No. So the Artezas on this particular Faber Castell paper did not seem to do as well as some of the others. Let's now try the zigs, and let's see how we do with the zigs. So we'll try the red. Of course, the zigs are the most expensive out of the 6. And yeah, they blend beautifully. Gorgeous. The blue. And we have a Misty visiting us. Now the blue, you can see a little bit in there. You see that? You can kind of see a line in there. Let's try the green. And that blends out pretty good. So the blue, you know, probably was the worst out of the 3. So let's take a look at this whole sheet and see how we fared with all of them. I think overall It almost seems like Colorant did the best. Although Chromatech did pretty good, but I think as far as, I mean, the Zigs, of course, you know, did pretty good, although the blue had a little bit of problem. The Colorants all blended out really nice, as did the Doodle Hogs. Doodle Hogs did pretty good too. So yeah, I would say it's kind of a toss-up between the Doodle Hogs, Colorant, and Zigs. Now you may see something totally different in the camera than what I'm seeing up close, and your opinions are probably going to be totally different than mine, and that's fine. This is just to kind of let you see the difference between all of the watercolor papers that I picked. So let's go on to the next watercolor paper. This is a much thinner paper. This is by Reeves. Let's zoom you back in. And again, we will start with the Genuine Crafts. This is very smooth for a watercolor paper. And yeah, it does not move whatsoever. Holy cow. And I swear it said watercolor paper. Let me just double check that after going through these, because yeah, that's not moving whatsoever. Wow. And again, like on the Crayola paper, the green does move a little bit more. Let me just look through my stack of papers here at the Reeves. Yes, it does say watercolor paper. Yeah, it's not working too good, is it? Okay, well, maybe some of the others will work a little bit better. Here are the Doodle Hogs. What a name, huh? Doodle Hog. They are the only brush pen out of all of these sets, too, that does not have their company name on the pen. They do have, however, the code and a color name on them, so. All right, so that is the red. Yeah, again, not too good. The blue. This is not reacting like watercolor paper at all, is it? Nope. And the green. And again, we will go through all the colors just to give it a chance. Yeah, not good, not good. So let's go down to the Chromatech. And the red. Now again, the Chromatech right now does not have their color names on the barrel, but they are going to be putting out another set that is going to include color names on the pens themselves. So they must have listened to us when people complained. Okay, here is the blue. No, not moving at all. Here is the green. And again, the green always moves a little bit more, but this paper is reacting very similar to the Crayola paper, isn't it? All right, let's try a little bit more expensive of a brand, and that is the Colorant pens. Nice thing about the Colorant is they do have refills. I just have a small set. I'm not sure if this is the biggest set they have. This is, I think, a set of, what was it, 24? Let me see. Yeah, I think it's 24. Yeah. And yes, you can get refills for them. So that's the nice thing about those. And they are good pens. As we'll see on better watercolor paper. So this is the green. Again, moves a little more, but not much. Let's try the Artisas. And yes, because these are true brush tips, you get this kind of, you know, looking like it's not solid color. Now, if it was the fiber tip markers, yes, you would get the solid color. But the brush pens, especially when we get to the cold press paper, that is very rough because of how it was treated as watercolor paper, you're really going to see a lot of this where you don't get solid coverage with a brush pen, and you're not meant to. So don't think that they're not juicy or there's something wrong with the pen, because that's just the nature of watercolor paper and with brush pens, true brush tips. And the same is happening with the Artisas. Surprise, surprise. We'll have to see how the zigs do on this. Let me get a little more water out here. Okay, so that is the Artisas. All right, we will try the zigs now. The red. And again, they do blend out the best, but it's not saying much on this paper, is it? Although compared to the others, I guess I'm surprised it's, you know, moving the ink at all. Not good. Okay, so come back out and look at the Reeves watercolor paper. And midnight, you're opening my patio door blinds. It's getting bright. Yes, as a whole, no matter what brand of watercolor brush pens we have on this paper, Reeves paper is a definite no-go, just like the Crayola. All right, let's move on to the next sheet. This is B watercolor paper, and this is cold pressed, so it is very rough in texture. Excuse me. So let's start out again with Genuine Crafts. Let's bring those down. Still battling this cold. Okay, red. Now there is cold pressed and there is hot pressed paper. And the cold pressed has the more rough texture. And these are not working too good, are they? Not, I mean, it's spreading the color, but you can definitely see where the brush strokes are. Okay, one moment. I will be right back. All better. Once the cough starts going, the nose starts running. Oh, so, all right, I'm better now. And the green. And pretty much the same story. All right, let's try the Doodle Hogs. Okay, same kind of story, and so And the blue doesn't move much at all. Now, this is not to say that these watercolor papers are not good for anything. They're probably great for watercolorists who use the regular watercolor palettes, and you don't see these actual brush strokes from the watercolor pens. I just was curious to see which one would work best with watercolor brush pens themselves. All right, so again, that worked not too well. Excuse my arm as I get each set of pens from up here. All right, now we are going to the Chromatech. Let me go back and reclose these patio door blinds because it's pretty bright, isn't it? One moment. All right, that's better. All right, here is the Chromatech Red. Maybe blending a tad better, but you can definitely see the strokes yet in that. Oh, yeah, and the blue doesn't move much at all. It's the one we had the most problem up on the Doodle Hogs, too, so it must be something in the blue pigment, huh? And then the green always seems to blend out the best. Which, it does blend out nice, but again, still see the pen strokes. So that is the Chromatech. Let's go on to a little bit higher end, which is the Colorant pens. I like how these feel in my hand too. A little bit different than the other ones. So here is the red. Whoop. Didn't wash that off, Lisa. Let's go this way then. And no, not doing too well. Again, it's blending out okay, but you do still see the brush strokes underneath. Doing a little bit better than what the Chromatech did and the others, but still not the best. All right, let's try the Artezas. And we'll start again with the red. Yeah, similar to the others. Blue. Yeah, blue always seems to have more of a problem, and so. And the green. Same problemos. All right, and let's finally go to the zigs. Red. And the zigs definitely work the best. And pretty much gets rid of all of the brush strokes. You can see just a shadowing of it left. But definitely the best of the bunch. Let's see what the other two colors do. We got the blue, I got the blues. Okay, again, the blue seems to be the hardest to blend out. Ooh, look how that's spreading together. Isn't that cool? There's a sign of watercolor, and so. And we have the green. And the green spreads wonderfully. That did a great job. So let's back out on this one again and look at the B cold pressed watercolor paper. For the most part, yeah, I kind of had a problem again with the watercolor brush pens. Definitely an improvement over the others, but all of them had quite a bit of problems except for Zig. Zig did the best. You can still see brush strokes. The green, I think, worked out wonderfully, but it seems, again, like green blends out the best no matter what, so must be something in the pigment. All right, so let's go on to our next paper. Again, this is a thinner paper, so we will see how this paint by design ideation, how this particular paper does. So again, I'm going to zoom you back in, and we will again start with Genuine Crafts. Very smooth paper, so I don't know, I'm kind of waiting with bated breath. Oh, it actually spreads out better than I thought it was gonna. Wow, not bad. Again, you can kind of see some strokes in there, but it, wow, did much better than what I thought it was gonna. This is probably watercolor paper that would even fit through the printer, which is really hard to find any watercolor paper that'll go through a printer. And that's why I had gotten so many before I kind of knew about the weights of papers and things like that. I had gotten some that I should have never gotten because there's no way 140-pound paper is going to go through a printer. All right, blue again has problems on this paper. And let's see, again, green typically blended out the best out of all three. And while it blended out, you can definitely see the brush strokes in there. So the red kind of did the best out of all three of those. All right, let's try the Doodle Hog pens. And we will start out with the red. And again, it blends out not too bad. You do see a little bit of the pen stroke in here, but it is seeming to blend out really nice. Get my pen water brush blended out real good. And let's see how the blue does. And again, blue has the hardest time, even if I work at it. But as watercolor paper itself, it actually is holding up real well to water, better than I thought it was going to, again, because it is so thin. And let's try the green. and kind of the same story. Blends out nice. If I work at it, I can I pretty much got the brush strokes out of there, but you did have to kind of work at it. But they did all disappear from the Doodle Hog green. All right, so let's go on to the Chromatech. Here is the red. Not too bad. Got to work at it a little bit, but you pretty much get all of the brush strokes out. You can still see it in there a little bit. Now, blue seemed to have the most problems on the other papers, and this one too. So we'll see how this does. And yeah, definitely the same story. If you work at it, you can kind of get it to work, but not the best. Let's see how the green does. Green doesn't do too bad. Again, like the Doodle Hog, the green Chromatech did pretty good. Okay, now we are on to the Colorant pens. And that's not too bad. Again, you can see a little bit of the brush strokes in there. Let's try the blue. Again, I can't get over how juicy these Colorant pens are. Blue again, having more of a problem on here. If you work at it, you can get it to move. You can still see, again, the brush strokes though. And the green. Again, can see the brush strokes in there. Okay. Sorry again. All right, got to keep these all in order up here. Okay, let's go on to the Artezas. Okay, the red. And the Artezas are having problems with this paper too. Let's try the blue. Yeah, blue's having a problem too. Sorry. Green. Yep, same problem. I'm going to take a drink quick. Okay, let's try out the zigs and see how they do. All right, the red. And again, zigs are winning out. You can see a little bit of shadowing here, but not bad at all. Let's try Now the blue has been the hardest to move, so we will see how the blue does on this paper with the zigs. Yeah, still hard to move. You can get it to work, but it takes a little bit of scrubbing. All right, and the green. And again, that blends out nicely. All right, so there we have the paint watercolor paper by Design Ideation. And they all did about the same. Now that they're drying, you don't seem to see quite the amount of the brush strokes, the brush pen strokes themselves. So they all, I mean, this watercolor paper certainly is not ideal for the watercolor brush pens. We definitely seen that. I would say, again, the zigs probably did the best. Doodle Hogs did really well, though, for the most part, considering, you know, and Colorant did pretty good, too, so. All right, so that was the Paint by Design Ideation watercolor paper. And what do we have next? We have the Prima Marketing Watercolor Paper Pad. So let's see how the brush pens do on this paper. Again, we will start with the Genuine Crafts. I'm going to have to get my other paper towel. This is getting kind of soaked and very colorful, though, isn't it? Good thing I brought another piece over here. Okay, so again, we'll start with Genuine Crafts. Now this, you can tell, is definitely cold press paper because of the very rough texture to it. Oh, I am surprised. I thought this paper would do wonderfully. Huh. Again, it probably works wonderfully with true watercolors, and just not these pens. But I thought it would have done a little bit better than this. Interesting. Yeah, this is not moving at all on here. So that's why I was kind of curious to see what was going to do the best and worst too. Let's try to get a little more ink down and see if that makes a difference. I don't think so. Now green typically spread the best anyhow, but yeah, not working. All right, let's go on to Doodle Hog and see what Doodle Hog does. Oh, same story. Okay, the blue. And I am swatching this out rather fast. So again, with the cold press paper, this is what you're gonna get. But yeah, blue hardly moved at all. Let's do the green. And again, green moved the most, but that goes without saying, right? Not the best. Okay, then we have Chromatech. And the red in Chromatech, having a little bit harder of a time going down on the paper. Not I mean, it did blend out, but again, kind of like the others, we can, it didn't move it really well. The blue, whoops, it dripped. And yeah, blue has its typical problem. I'm gonna put green down here because I got a water drop up there. Yep, same story. Okay, then we are going to go on to color it. We will try their red. Nope, the colorants don't even move. Try the blue. Nope again. And the green. No. So let's try the Artezas. The red. Same problem. Blue. Yeah, that's hardly moving at all. And the green. Yep, problems, problems, problems. All right, and then finally, we will go with our zigs. We'll see if our zigs do the best again on this kind of paper. So we will go with the red. And same kind of problem. The blue. Nope. And the green. And I always try to get enough water out of my pen to, you know, give it the benefit of the doubt so that it can spread nice, but yeah, they still have problems. Okay, so that was the zigs. Let's zoom back out again. So what did we find out about this Prima marketing watercolor paper? None of them did well on this particular watercolor paper. I don't think there really is any best or worst out of the 6 brands on this paper. So again, you may have a different opinion, but I guess that's kind of my opinion. So let's move on to the next paper. This one I'm kind of curious about. This is the Canton watercolor paper. Again, it's a little bit of a thinner paper. I didn't look to see how many pounds this is. This may go through some printers. Again, some printers can handle heavier paper and some can't. Let's zoom in again and we will try the Genuine Crafts. Red. Oh, and it comes out nice on this paper. Must be hot pressed and not cold pressed. because it's much smoother. Not real smooth, but oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Wonderful. I think we found one that works, possibly. Don't want to say it after the first color, right? I'll jinx it. But maybe this will work with our watercolor pens. And even the blue is blending out wonderfully. And here is the green. Beautiful. Awesome. So the Genuine Crafts did beautifully on this paper. Let's go to the Doodle Hogs. And the red. Yep. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You don't see any lines from the pens whatsoever. And the blue. Okay, blue's having a little bit more problem, but I can work it out. And it could be that there's like a touch of violet to Doodle Hog's blue. And maybe I should have picked one, you know, closer to the other blues. I'm not sure. And the green. Gorgeous. Wonderful. So Doodle Hogs work great on this paper also. Let's go down to Chromatech. If you notice, Chromatech probably most closely represents the zigs. Okay, let's put the cover on. I mean, they are very, very similar to the zig brush pens. Even in, you know, the caps, everything is very, very similar. I noticed that before and I'm like, that looks just like the zigs. Okay, so here is the red. And that works really well too. I think we found a winner as far as watercolor paper with these pens. I think it worked the best so far out of all of them. Sometimes you got to work a little bit at getting that line out, but it's still pretty good. Beautiful. So the Chromatechs worked wonderfully too. So I anticipate the Colorates are going to do good too. Again, they seem to go down the smoothest. I'm not sure what's different in their bristles, but oh yeah, these blend out wonderfully. Let's try the blue. Colorant is also the only one that has this little bit different of a design. The pen barrels are different because they're tapered up. They have a clip, you know, on the cap that's a little bit different than the others. So they are quite a bit different than the other brush pens. And it's having a little bit of a problem with the blue. Now that could be because I was sitting there jabbering as it was sitting there drying on the paper. I did get it to blend out though. So I guess that wasn't a fair comparison because I was talking while the ink was drying on my paper. All right. Can still see a shadow there. Can you see it on camera too? So I think the others almost blended out the green a little bit better than the Colorants this time. Okay, let's go for the Artesas. And we'll do the red. And that blends out wonderfully. Blue. See, I don't know what it is about this blue. The blues just have a little bit harder time. But for the most part worked. You just work at it a little bit harder and you will get it to move well. And the green. Again, work at it a little bit. Can still see a little bit of shadowing, but it did pretty well. Okay, and let's see what the zigs do. I am anticipating that they will do fine. That is the red. And oh yeah, they move like a dream. Don't even have to work at it. Of course, that is the red. It's the blue that usually has problems, and so let's see what the blue does. And it has a little bit of a problem, but moves the color very nice. No brush strokes in there whatsoever. And the green. And yeah, green has no problems whatsoever either. So I think we have a winner. Canton watercolor paper does fantastic with these brush pens. Pretty much every single brand. Again, winner, hands down, are the zigs. I would say the Doodle Hogs did really well, and Genuine Crafts. I think they all actually did really, really well with this color paper. Artesas maybe had a little bit of problem, but a lot of them had the problem with the blues. So, okay, so yes, this is a definite yes. And now we are starting with the Strathmore. So this is the Strathmore paint pad. This is the youth, for youths or children. It is cold pressed. It is, you know, has that rough texture, so I can tell it is cold pressed. So let's see what the Genuine Crafts will do. I'm kind of curious to see what this paper is gonna do with them being geared at kids crafts. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is awesome. Holy cow. Does seem out of the three colors, the red, well, the red and green pretty much blend the best. We'll see what the blue does. Not bad. Wow, I'm impressed. For being a student quality or a kid's watercolor paper, this This really surprises me. Nice, nice, nice surprise. Awesome. Those worked wonderfully. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's try the Doodle Hogs. And we have the red. Yep. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And the blue. This is always the curious one. And again, I do think I picked the wrong blue because this does have the purple to it. And purple maybe is harder to blend out, but that blended out beautifully. And the green. Fantastic. All right, we are going to go to the Chromatex. Seems a little drier on this paper than the others. And I think I need some more water. Oh, I ran out of water. Okay, I'll be right back. Alrighty, let's try this again. Okay, here we go. Now Chromatex seems to be having a problem with it. I hope it isn't because my water in here might be a little cold. It's not room temp. I guess we'll see. We'll see if the rest of the pens are having a problem. Okay, this is the blue. Because Chromatex typically did as well as the others on the paper. See, now, even the blue, which is typically the hardest one to move, did great on this paper. And let's try the green. Beautiful. No problems at all. So, Chromatex did great too. Now let's try the Colorants. Here is the red. Pretty good. You see a little bit of shadowing in there though. Can you see that on camera? Yeah, a little bit. Let's see what the blue does. Okay, that moved great. And the green. And that moved really well too. So I don't know what it was about the red. Typically we don't have problems with red. Again, this red though is on the pinker side. So, you know, that may have something to do with it. Let me grab the Artezas. All right, and let's do the red. And yes, the Artezas do really well also. Maybe just a tint of a shadowing there. I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, just a tad. Then we have a blue. And yeah, you can see the line in the blue also. You can work it out more, but you do have to work at it. And the green. And the green worked great. No line in there at all. So our teases were kind of iffy. The green's really the only one that worked real well. Okay, and then our zigs, which safe to assume maybe they're going to work great on this. Never assume though, right? Oh yeah. They move very easy on this. Beautiful. And the blue. Wonderful. Maybe just a tinge of a line there, but it doesn't really stay. You can see just a little bit in there. And the green. Yep, wonderful. All right, so yeah, the zigs did very well on this paper also. Zoom you back out. So, what did we think of this Strathmore paint pad? I think it did fantastic. Pretty much all of them did really, really well. Our teases maybe had a little bit of a problem, but pretty much this is a definite yes as far as watercolor paper. And again, this is a cold press, so it is not super thick for a cold press paper, but probably thicker than what most printers would take. It doesn't feel like it's 140 pound, but maybe it is. All right, so that is the Strathmore paint pad. Let's get on to the next Strathmore paper, and this is their regular Strathmore cold press. And yes, this, let me see. No, I guess they do feel similar, so that must be 140 pound also, because I'm assuming this is. Okay, so this is their regular watercolor paper. Zoom me back in again. And we, again, will start with the Genuine Crafts red. Goes down nice on this paper. How would you look at that? That throws me for a loop. Oh my gosh. The paper geared at youth does much better than their regular watercolor paper. Now again, this paper may be more geared towards true watercolorists and not for pens, but it still kind of floors me. Who would have thunk it? Oh yeah, especially the blue. Oh yeah, this paper is not going to work well with the pens. You can see that already. The green, which again moves the most, but not good. Let's try the Doodle Hogs. I always say Doodle Hogs, meaning the Doodle Hog pens. It's not hogs. And yeah, same problem. The blue. Yeah, not good, not good. And the green. Moves more, but again, not good. Let's try the Chromatech. See if we have any better luck. Nope. Same story, new pen. Nope. Didn't move that much at all, did it? And the green, the colors themselves lay down nice out of the pins, but just doesn't want to move it much. Okay, so the Chromatex had the same problem. Let's see what Colorant does with this paper. And of course, Colorant lays down the smoothest, but has the same problem. I'll be curious to see what the zigs do. That actually moved better than I thought it was going to. Not bad. The blue always seems to have the most problem. Okay, I think actually the Colorant did the best out of all of them so far, but still not that great. Okay, let's go down and try the Artesas. And red. No. Again, same problem. Nope. Now these Artesas are shaped, you know, again, very similar to the others, but look how much longer they are. If I put the caps even, the Chromatex are, or I mean the Artesas are quite a bit longer than the others. So they are a little bit different to hold than the other ones. All right, we will do the green in the Artesas. And no, same problem. Okay, let's get out the zigs and see what these babies can do. Okay, red. Again, besides the Colorant, I think the zigs lay down the best, you know, are the juiciest. And that actually is better than what I thought it was gonna do. Let's try the blue. Yep. Again, it probably moved it out. One of the best out of them, but still not good. Colorant did pretty good too, but still not good paper for watercolor pens. Well, that didn't do too bad actually. Huh. That one worked out pretty good. You can see a little ghosting here from the pen, but so Strathmore cold pressed watercolor paper for the most part is a no for watercolor brush pens. I think the zigs and the Colorants maybe did the best. I would say probably the zigs. The green worked great. There's a little bit of ghosting here yet, but yeah. The Strathmore cold pressed watercolor paper is a no. All right, the last paper is my favorite, so we're gonna see how this does. This is the Strathmore Bristol Vellum paper. Let's put the zigs back. And we will again zoom in. And we will start with the red. And this is a much smoother watercolor type paper, but I love the way it works. All right, that worked good. But Now I could see there are a couple of them that work just as well. Okay, the blues again does have a little bit of a problem. You can work it out, but there's still a little shadow in there. And the green. And that moved wonderfully. Okay, pretty good. Let's see what the Doodle Hog pins do. We got the red. That does really good. Maybe a little bit in here. No, you can move it out. It does pretty good. And the blue. Okay, just a little bit of problem with the blue. Again, it may be because of the touch of purple in this, the violet. But again, you move it enough, you can get it worked out. There's a little bit of shadowing in there yet though. And the green. And yes, that moves great. No problem with that. All right, Chromatech, come here. Okay. And the red. Nice. The blue. Get out of my way, water pen. A little bit of a problem with the blue, but it does work out eventually. A little bit in there yet, but it does work out, so. In the green. No problems with the green. Okay, so not too bad. I think so far the Genuine Crafts thing was kind of a tie between Genuine Crafts and Doodle Hog, huh? Okay, let's try the Colorant pens. No problems at all. And the blue. Again, a little bit harder to move here and eliminate that line, but you can work it out. The greens. Not quite blending out as nice as the others. You can, again, work at it and move it. But I think the other ones, the green blended out nicer. All right, let's go to the Artesas. Whoops, we don't want green first, we want red first. And let's apply the water. Nice. That blended out wonderfully. again, has a little bit of problem with the blues. If you work it, you can pretty much get rid of it, but there's still a little bit of shadowing in there. And the green. This too. Well, if you go over it enough, I can see it's pulling that out nice. So, yeah, that worked okay. All right, our last test on our last paper is with the zigs. No problem whatsoever. The blue. Again, a little bit of a problem, but if you work at it, pretty much gets rid of the line. I can see some in here though. And the green. Okay. And yeah, working on getting that line out, and then it blends out fine. So what do we think of the Strathmore Bristol Vellum paper? I think they work wonderfully. I think, you know, the Genuine Crafts, Doodle Hog, I mean, I think they all did great on this paper. Blues, again, had a little bit harder of a time. Some of your budget-friendly watercolor pens did wonderfully. So, yeah, Strathmore Bristol Vellum is definitely a yes. So, let's get out all of the papers that we tested. Okay, we'll see which ones. I wanted to start with the top. I got these out of order now. Darn. Well, here is, oh yeah, I took the Reeves up to see if it was truly watercolor paper, and it is. Okay, so first off, we had the Crayola. Was a definite no. Faber Castell was not too bad, and this is a student grade watercolor paper. Not your higher end paper, but they all did, you know, they did relatively well. There's still some ghosting, but it did okay. Not great, but it did okay. Then we had Reeves. Reeves was a definite no, just like the Crayola. Did not work at all. And the B cold press, no. I should put the ones that are yes on one pile. So far we had the Faber Castell. No, the B did not work at all. Then we have the paint by Design Ideation, which actually worked pretty good. And again, it is a thinner paper that may go through a printer. So I would say this is a yes. We'll put that on the yes pile. Then we have Prima Marketing. No, this was a no. Spread it out somewhat, but no. So that's the no pile. Then we had the Canton watercolor paper, and again, this worked really, really well for all brands. All right, so that goes on the yes pile. We had the Strathmore paint pad. Again, this one being geared towards kids, and it did wonderfully. It did awesome. All of the pens did great on this paper, which kind of blew me away. So that's a definite yes. Then we have the Strathmore cold press. That was a definite no. So you wonder what's the difference between the cold press and what the watercolor paper for the kids is. Again, this could be geared more towards your artists who are using their watercolors, you know, in the palettes. You know, that could be the difference with what this paper is coated with. And we have the Strathmore Bristol Vellum paper, which also did really, really well. Out of the ones that I think are winners, as far as smoothness and ease of putting the color down with the brush tip markers, because, you know, they are actual bristles. Some of the papers are, you know, it's a little bit harder to lay your ink down with the pen because of it being a rougher texture. The Faber Castell is quite smooth. The paint by Design Ideation is very nice and smooth. It was very easy to lay down the brush pen ink on this paper too. This is a little bit rougher, but not bad. This is very smooth, so I'm surprised it did as well as it did. The Canton, this is cold press, so it is much harder to get your ink down evenly if that's what you're worried about. For the most part, you know, you don't have to worry about that if you're, you know, you're spreading your ink out anyhow, but it is a thicker cold press paper. The Strathmore paint, geared towards the kids again, is a cold press and thicker, very similar to the previous one that, you know, this did wonderfully, but it is your rougher texture. And then of course the Strathmore Bristol Vellum, very, very smooth. I would say it's a cross between this paint and the Vellum, the Strathmore Bristol Vellum, as far as smoothness. But again, this Strathmore is 140 pound. That'll never go through a printer. This may. I should actually look at that paper and see if it has, it is 67 pound. Can you believe that? 67 pound watercolor paper that does this. I think I have a new favorite because I do think this will go through my printer, and I have never worked with this paper. I had to open it just for this test. I had this sitting up in my supply of papers for I don't know how long and had not used it. And I am going to try printing on this paper and trying out some different watercolor mediums like my Neocolor 2s and some more of my watercolor pens and maybe ink tints or Albrecht Dürer. So yeah, this is a nice surprise to me too. What did you guys think? Did it kind of surprise you too? I mean, your higher end, like your Canton, I kind of expected to work, but boy, some of those that I did expect to work and didn't really threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting a lot out of the Crayola. That was kind of a given. Wasn't sure about the Reeves because I was not familiar with it at all. I had heard of it, and that's why I got it. But yeah, this bee kind of surprised me. I had heard of this quite a bit, so I thought that was going to work better. Prima kind of surprised me, I guess. But again, I think that's more of a higher end towards your artists with the watercolor palettes. And then this one kind of threw me for a loop too, is the Strathmore regular watercolor paper that did not work well with these at all. So there were definitely some surprises for me in this comparison of not only the watercolor brush pens, but the watercolor paper too. So these 5 are my pick, I guess. Did you kind of agree with my analysis as we were going through all of this? I would like to know in the comments below whether you think I'm kind of off on some of my thoughts. Again, our 2 that are geared towards kids or I shouldn't say kids, this Faber-Castell is student quality, and then the Strathmore paint is geared towards the youth. And both of those did better than some of the others. So yeah, I would have to say my new favorite that I'm going to try is this paint. And again, I'm going to try it in my printer. Again, I will link all of these watercolor papers and these watercolor brush pens down below in case you would like to get a set and try them out yourself on some of these different papers. I still do like my Bristol Vellum, but again, this is 140 pound, and while it's very nice paper and I do like it, it's not something that's going to go through your printer. So there you have it. These are our yeses. We have 5 yeses and we have 5 no's. How do you like that? That worked out kind of funky, didn't it? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this rather broad comparison, and I hope you stuck with me till the end. I know this got a little bit long, but I just thought it would be interesting to try all the different brands and all the different, you know, the different brand pens and the different watercolor papers, because heaven knows there's a ton more watercolor papers out there than this. Some that get to be very, very high-end and expensive watercolor papers, which of course I was not going to buy for this test, or even for, you know, anything that I do. It just is, you know, it just doesn't justify spending that amount for watercolor paper when I am not an artist and I don't need that. So, okay, well, if you enjoyed this comparison, please hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to my channel. I hope everybody's having a terrific weekend, and as always, happy coloring. Bye, guys.